Hi there, welcome to the Tomb of Illumination. Today's video is a little bit more regarding this so-called mythological story, the feminine aspect of the King Arthur story. I've done one earlier video and so this is the second one, and I'm only going to work on a couple of paragraphs and show you how buzzy it is when you understand the hidden messages within these ancient myths and legends. You see, all the ancient myths and legends and religion all allude to, or basically describing, two things: man's second birth, his awakening the dormant brain we must do in this physical world, and the physics of the flat earth system. So, but unfortunately you won't understand either of them if you don't understand the flat earth system. So that's why you come to the site. I'm the only one who can explain it. So once you understand the flat earth system, you get to understand all the myths and legends, if you want to put your mind to it. So as soon as I saw this book, I knew straight away I'd get some secrets out of it, and sure enough, the first few pages start telling the story. But this one's quite buzzy, so I thought I'd do a video about it. And so I'll just read it. We're on page 7 here. I'll read from the top. Through the tangles from another room, she heard a loud yelling and decided that Morgane was having her hair combed by her nurse and didn't like it. Actually, I won't read that. You won't understand that. It's difficult to break down. I'll come down a bit further to the bottom of the paragraph. Ingrain knew that her younger sister could spin well enough when she chose. Her hands were so clever at everything: at combing, at carding, at making Yule pies. So you go look up a picture of a Yule pie, basically a pie. You know what a pie looks like. You're going to see the image of a plan view of the flat earth system. All the pastry around the southern hemisphere is the Arctic Circle. So there's your pie. And then you've got carding. Carding is like a spinning, it's a spinning wheel system. But anyway, the system has two cylinders. Okay? And if you've been following any of my videos, you know I've been describing the whole flat earth system like this. There's the northern hemisphere and the southern hemisphere, which moves around the central northern hemisphere. That stays on its axis, but this image is always moving because the magnetic field in here, that's always moving. All our celestial bodies move around and they're all reflected out here. So this whole southern system moves around. So this carding, look it up. The ratio here, I'll be saying 2 to 3, but it varies. It's a little bit more than the 2 to 3 ratio. But that's just showing you the physics of our flat earth, because I've explained it all in my videos, so you can't deny it if you know. You got combing. So combing, is to move through, and it's to do it the Milky Way, because the Milky Way is represented as hair, sometimes described as being a lot of hair. And these celestial bodies, like the moon, and that goes into the Milky Way, and it moves through the Milky Way, the core of the Milky Way. So you've got the whole three here. You've got the combing within the Milky Way, and the carding, and the pie. Describing the physics of Earth, basically. So Ingrain braided her hair, because the Milky Way is helix. It's like braiding, or more like plaiting. It's a plaiting formation. Grasped it on top of her head, which meaning that Milky Way is aligned at her head, her zenith, because every man stands in his arc of horizon. That's the Milky Way alignment up here, the keystone, the capstone, she's down here. So that's part of that story as well. What'd she say here? Brooch. Braided her hair, clasped it on top of her head with a golden clamp, because the sun's in the Milky Way, right? golden clamp, and put her good gold brooch into the fold of her cloak. Well, the fold of her cloak, for a starter, is to do with the sun's analemma, because they're always considered as the cloak. There's the little Red Riding Hood's cloak, and you got this neck. It's all to do with this neck, and the fold of her cloak. So they must be calling this. Oh, this is the fold, because this part here represents the gap, the celestial tropical gap here. Okay, it's between the two hemispheres, the northern hemisphere and the southern hemisphere. Northern hemisphere, southern hemisphere. And the way the hemispheres work is basically the fold. You fold it like that. So you'll have the northern hemisphere images there, and then you fold it, and you have the southern hemispheres on there, mirrored. Okay? But at the same time, you have to realise there's this ratio, this difference, because it's a toroidal field. It all expands out from the centre, so it gets bigger and bigger and bigger as it moves out. That's what the ecliptic plane is. Energy starts from the centre, like it's a wave, and it goes out. The waves get bigger and bigger and bigger as the frequency gets weaker and weaker and weaker. Higher frequency near the black hole centre where the sun is. Okay, so she's mentioned there. She's got the fold. She's got the sun we see in the tropical gap in the fold, and it's all about crossing at this point here in this fold. It's that season. Gold clasp, and put her good gold brooch into the fold of her cloak. Sun. She looked at herself in the old bronze mirror. What have I said about the old bronze mirror? Well, this is the bronze mirror, you see, between the tropics. Because metaphorically, or metaphysically, you've got the magnetic field build up on the northern side, and you've got the magnetic field build up on the southern side, right? And they're mirrored. And like I said before, this part here of the tropical gap, all the way around here, represents the dead centre of Earth. And the dead centre of the Arctic Circle, right in the centre, it's mirrored. We cannot see it from out here. Okay? Man can travel a little way in the Arctic Circle, but no one can actually get to the dead centre. Just like they can't get to the dead centre of the Antarctic. They'll say, oh, here's the South Pole. They can say it's here or there, all the way around there. But no one can ever get to the dead centre right in there. Okay? Because on this flat Earth system, this magnetic field spirals around like this. But because everything travelling south expands, everything expands so much, it brings all this back together, if you know what I mean. Because you expand with it. But at the end of the day, when you get to the south, you've still got the big Antarctic Circle. Like that. So you can come to this point here, or anywhere around here. Anybody can come to this point here or this point here. But because it's expanded and we have expanded with it, it all just comes back to we're all in the same spot. Like you could say we're all right there. But no one can get to this dead centre. So the way you draw it is like the dead centre would be how would you draw it? You draw it like this. Where's my rubber? What's my rubber? Here it is. So the Arctic Circle, you draw it like this. That's the Arctic North. Now you can look at it two ways. Is it inverted or expressed or inverted? So you need to realise in the north it's expressed out. The field is expressed out from dead centre. We can probably only get to about here, here, or anywhere around here. We can't get into there, place of inaccessibility. No matter what they tell you, you cannot get in there or fly in there. Airplanes will fly around here maybe, or cross there, or cross there. Nothing crosses that point. And in the Antarctic, it's the same. But it's inverted. You're going in. It's inverted. Expressed and then returning field. That's what it does. The toroidal field, isn't it? Comes out and over to the south. It comes back in again. So it comes out and over to the tropical gap, because nothing crosses the tropical gap. Comes over to the centre Cancer, down to the ground, along the ground, then up. Then it comes up and out, over to Capricorn, down into the ground, across the ground and back out again. That's how the field works. So we have the capacitor plates, basically, here. So it's bronze. Why is it bronze? Because it's a mixing. There's a mixing of the iron, steel plates, because you can imagine a magnet stuck on there, and a magnet stuck on there, a north pole and a south pole. And they're going to want to grab each other. But you have to have this gap the right width. Otherwise, if you spread it too far, all of a sudden, this magnet becomes a north and a south. Okay? So it's this gap. You've got to give it just right. So you keep only a north pole and a south pole. Monopoles. Okay? And the bronzing is the iron, and up here comes the electrical. It's from the hydrogen molecule, long story, but this becomes the copper, the helix copper, the electromagnetic induction, because that's basically what power is. Oh, okay, let's just come back over this way. So we've got this electromagnetic induction, and then the other system is the earthing coming off the ground, basically. All metaphysical, because you don't see it and common man doesn't understand it. But it's all made physical in our physical world, isn't it? We all understand this in the physical world. Because that's what happens in the physical world. We can see it to understand it, but we have to start learning the non-physical. This is what all these stories are all about. What are we up to? Vivian, okay. We've got golden brooch into the fold of her cloak. She looked at herself in the old bronze mirror, because we've got one end of the Milky Way on this side, one end on this side. They're pairing. Okay, you know about pairing in physics? It's what goes on in this gap here. Bronze mirror, her sister Vivian had given her at her wedding. That's to do with the pairing. There's more to that. It's the male and the female, two ends of the Milky Way, because that's all about spiritual enlightenment. It's the male finding the woman on the other side. That's your spiritual marriage, finding that pairing. Given to her at a wedding, brought, they said, all the way from Rome. So where's Rome? Well, Rome as in roaming. The Milky Way roams across your sky to a line directly overhead at your hour. And Rome, you could say, comes from the centre Arctic. The Milky Way comes out over this way. But Rome is still represented in the dual system, the north and the southern hemisphere, because the mythological story, the history of Rome, is created by the two brothers, the north and the south, one in each hemisphere. The two Milky Ways aligning for this divine event. She knew, lacing her gown, that her breasts were once again as they had been before. Morgaine had been weaned a year now, meaning it's come round another season, another year's cycle, back into the divine period here, once a year. That's September anyway. Morgaine had been weaned a year now, and they were only a little softer and heavier. She knew she had her old slimness back, for she had been married in this gown, and now the laces were not strained even a little. Okay, so it's a great story, and you know what it's all about. So the laces are not strained anymore. So you can think of a corset, how you have to pull them together. You're talking about the gaps here again. The northern and the metaphysical gaps here, in the either side of the tropics, the corset. This is basically what's going on up here in the tropics. But the divine period's here, you see, and like I've said in my videos, it's to do with the overlay, and this is the you can consider as the linen or the lacing. What do we got? Heavier, she knew, slimness, married in this gown. Married in the gown. She's married in there because it's hidden. This is why the book's called the Mists of Avalon. It's the mist. It's a hidden place. So what she's saying is it's made loose, married in the gown, married in here, in this gown where it's knitted together. But now the laces were not strained even a little. Now we're going to think, you know, there's your corset and we need to strain it, pull it together. Well, that's the physical world, right? But in the non-physical creation, this has come back to the resting state. Straining would be pulled apart. The northern hemisphere, because the northern hemisphere and the southern, they overlay. But the stars don't overlay because they go down into here. In other mythological stories, like the Fisher King, they talk about the waterfall, and he goes fishing and throws his rod down here. So the stars will come up and go down like this. They don't overlay because nothing crosses the tropics. So in creation, that's the resting state when it's sitting back there, because that is perfection. That's where Earth is from the state. Man has to meditate in that state. We all go back to a place of rest. And that's the whole divine story of creation, is Earth is from the place of rest, the black hole. And man needs to meditate and go to that resting state to ascend consciously. And the divine story is at this resting state because everything sits level here. The moon and the sun are on the one ecliptic plane, and all the planets. Okay? But it covered a mist. It's a mystery. It's where the word mystery comes from. Hidden in the mist. Because we don't see it. We all assume that it comes down here at the equinox. When it's half between the seasons. Here. But that is representing, you know, the two fields that are equal. But in reality, they're not equal. It's like this. Looks like an Eskimo's house, doesn't it? It's probably connected up north. And why they say the Earth looks like a turtle. The ancients. What am I getting at? Lost that. So that's the sun's in a lemma. is the way that proves that Earth looks like this. It's the only way we can see it. Remember, all the stars are, all the celestial bodies are for signs, and that sign shows us the difference, the ratio difference between the north and the south. But we just assume it's equal. Northern hemisphere and the southern hemisphere are equal like that. That's why they tell you live on a ball, but not much of a ball, is it? And there's your equator. It's an equilibrium. Look, both the same. What a joke. See, they don't know. Well, they do know, and they're lying. Of course they know. They're lying to you. That's how they can control your minds. Just like they're doing with the Ukraine war and blowing up Palestinian children, women and children. 5,000 murdered now. That was just another plan. Just like Maui, it was just another plan. It was all pre-organised. You know, the Americans are all there in the... So see there? All ready to go. Do battle. Israel, they're all ready to go. Let these bunnies fly over in there. Couldn't, you know, smashing down the border fences, flying over and microlights. Oh, can't shoot those down. No, let them do what they had to do. That gives them the excuse to go in there and commit genocide. That's what they've been doing for years. Anyway, back to the story. So, what else we got at Rome? She knew lacing her gown, the breast once again, and they were only married in the gown and strained even a little. They weren't even strained a little because at the resting state. That's all what I do in that video. So we'll leave it at that. But if you want to try and learn this stuff or understand it, oh, there's plenty. Look, I've underlined, there's so many notes here, so many points I can bring up. Right in that prologue there. And you start off, all this underlining there, there's so much information. Look, all this, all there, it's just full of it. This is like the Iliad. Iliad describes all this tropical gap too. Look, it's still going. All that, they're just full of it. I've only just started it. But the Iliad's all about this gap here too. I've mentioned that plenty of times before, the Trojan War. Okay, well thanks for watching.